Okay, cheers.
Start with a disclaimer. Any Yep. Any technical questions? Greg's just over here. The theme that's come out last night, which is completely different from what I wanted to preach on, was what do you get when you go into warfare? You know, when you go in, your spoils of war, which you bring back. And it was so awesome this morning to hear the spoils of war that you bring back. It's not always polished and it's not always clean, but it's dear to your heart. You know, and you can show to people the spoils of war. So last time I spoke, I just kind of got straight into it. So this time I thought maybe I should introduce myself. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Hannas. I help in the back with Sunday school. So if you don't know me, that means that you do not have a naughty child, and I did not have to come speak to you before. If you do know me, well then hi. So I grew up in a family of shopkeepers. My dad's always had a shop of some kind. It's usually a dairy sort of kind of thing. And he's always done his own accounts. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the numbers, with the books, these big old ledgers that he had as an accountant. And it made sense. It was logical, black and white, in columns, all sorted out. I loved it. Always thought one day that I would do something with numbers. Fast forward a few years, and will you believe it, I get married to an artist. Yep. There are no columns, all right? There are no black and whites. It's all color and it's all pictures. And yep. So the thing is, the older I get, the more I realize how much visually I am. God has made me quite a visual person, and it's just something that's come through. So today I want to give you a few pictures, because we're talking about pictures. Can my clicker, I've got a clicker there. There we go. Awesome. That came up on my Facebook feed not too long ago, and I thought that was quite funny. The caption read, "Just look how close that meteorite came to destroying the visitor center that's sitting just at the bottom here." And I thought that was very funny. The topic for today is quite a hard topic, I think. I find it difficult to articulate, and sometimes I think it's difficult to hear. But I spoke to Mike on Wednesday, and just walking through a little bit when, where, why, how, and it really was that this was life-changing for me. It was mind-bending, life-changing. So I think I've changed my mind. It's not a hard topic. It's freedom. It freed me. So with a lot of what today is there is my spoils of war. I want to share with you a lot of that today. This was freedom for me, and I hope it brings freedom for you. I found that we all suffer from one thing. We all kind of have one default setting that we revert to somewhere along the line. When things get rough at home or at work, when there's death in the family or a close friend, when your spouse makes some questionable decisions. What's your default setting? For some, it's smoking, drugs, alcohol, abuse, violence. This is a nice one. Going quiet, running away, depression. You know it's not good. You know it's not good for you. You know it's not good for the people around you. You stop doing it, and it goes well for so long, and then life happens. This one's mine. If you don't know what that is, ask a male. That's been my default setting, my go-to every time things get difficult. Now, I listened to a sermon not too long ago. I travel to Christchurch, so I get a lot of time in the car. I listened to a sermon, and the preacher said, as a counselor, he's found that this default setting is usually something that grabs you, usually as a child. It's something that makes an impression on you. It makes sense. It grabs your attention. It makes you curious. For me, I can remember it was a movie on VHS. Some of you don't know what that is. The rest of you do. I was, I don't know, I think 5, maybe 7, somewhere around there. It wasn't a full-on nude film, but it was quite explicit, quite provocative. I can still remember the name of the film. And I can remember it caught my attention. It made me curious. It became my epicenter. If we can just move to the next one, please. Now, like all good epicenters, you can walk away from this for quite some time, and when you turn around, you can still see it. This is big in your life. Nobody can deny that this has happened to you, and nobody can deny how it makes you feel. It's big, it's brutal, and it's visual. Everybody can see it. You can't pretend that it didn't happen, and it's not going to go away all by itself. And I think this is kind of where we start making some bad choices. This is when we start camping out in our epicenters. We start living from them. We build visitor centers.
There we go. We built visitor centres there. We paved the roads to get there. We make some bad choices. The easiest way for me to describe it is basically from a physical addiction kind of point of view. Now, I used to smoke comparatively. I would say a normal smoker, 20 a day, about 70 grams a week, I think it was when we rolled it. Heavy enough to be an issue. The roads to my epicenter was well paved. And I tried quitting so many times. And I would do well, and then I'd smoke again. I can remember I would sit in the tractor and I would cry out to God. I said, I do not want this in my life. And then I'd light up a smoke and I'll have another one. Now for me, I grew up in the church. I know the Bible really well, but I felt left behind. I felt abandoned by God. I felt that He didn't care for me, because I would cry out with all my heart, and nothing. There'd be nothing there. Now, like I said, I grew up in church. So what do you do when you want to hear from God is you read the manual. Yes. So like all good manuals, you start in the front. And I would read in Genesis. Now this is, for those of you that don't know, this is Genesis, first book in the Bible, chapter 4, verse 7. If we can have that one up. There's two versions there. I think I like the NLT just a little bit better. And it says, you will be accepted if you do what is right. Let me back up, sorry. This is Cain and Abel. Both had a sacrifice. God accepted the one, he didn't accept the other one. And Cain was sitting in his house, and he basically had a bit of a pity party, going, what is going on? And God comes to Cain and he says, you will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you. You must subdue it and be its master. My question was always, why would God not wave his magic wand? Why won't he help me? Why won't he save me? Now again, I want to back up a little bit. And I want to tell you that God has set me free from my Egypt. God has parted the waters and he's let me walk through it. He has fed me in the desert, and he has clothed me with clothes that did not wear out. I have seen miracles of God, but I was very much still a baby Christian. I thank God that he knows the difference between enabling us and saving us. He will save you from what you cannot do. He will save you and he will walk with you. And when the time is ready, he will tell you to get up and walk around your Jericho. He will provide the miracle, but he wants you to be part of it. God will let you take responsibility for your actions. He will help you navigate the rapids, and he puts trust in you to take sin and be its master. And I suppose that is the good news for today. God will set you free. God will rescue you. God, who knows what tomorrow brings, who knew you before you were born, who sang over you in your mother's womb, he looks at you and he says, you've got this. When Greg asked me to speak, I wanted to touch on freedom, getting free. I've been in church long enough to see people struggle with the same sin year in and year out. I've seen great healings and I've seen amazing progress, and then they get stuck. Their epicenter is just that big, and besides that, they've set up a visitor center there to show everybody their pain. Why is there not more freedom? I believe that God's given us a roadmap to recovery, written black and white. It was repeated over and over and over. Now, in the book of Numbers, the Israelites they've come from Egypt. God has set them free. God has set them free. They have walked through the desert, and they are just about to cross the Jordan into the promised land. And if we can go to Numbers there, please. And God says to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel when you cross the Jordan River into the land of Canaan. You must drive out all the people living there. You must destroy their carved and molten images and demolish their pagan shrines. But if you fail to drive out the people who live in the land, Those who remain will be like splinters in your eyes and thorns in your sides. They will harass you in the land where you live. My question is, what have you failed to destroy? What is coming back to harass you? In Matthew 13, again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant on the lookout for choice pearls. When he discovered a pearl of great value, he sold everything he owned and he bought it. Are you sold out? Has your epicenter changed? Is this new place of value more valuable to you than the old place of hurt? John 10:10, please. The thief's purpose is to steal and kill and destroy. And I have came that I may give you life and life to the full. And Galatians 5, please. So Christ has truly set us free. Now make sure that you stay free and don't get tied up again in the slavery of the law. Do not go back. Sell out. Put it to death. The question, I suppose, is why don't we? Normally it's because it's innocent enough and it's small enough. If we can get that next slide, please. The next one. There we go. Things are normally innocent enough, they're small enough, they're easy to conquer. But it turns into the next one. They grow up, they change a little bit. Can we get the headlines for the next one, please? A few headlines here. I'm going to read them from here. An Australian man killed by kangaroos he kept as a pet. Man mauled to death by his pet tiger. Python owner killed by his 8-foot-long pet. They're all pets. People kept these things. They were tiny, they were cute. Most of us have more than one thing that we go to. And as this is spoils of war, I thought I'd share a few with you. So the next one, please. That one there, that's my little hut of fear. When I was little, my brother and I got lost in a field. It was a bit like King Country, Otago Cross. That's kind of the setting for it. We got lost there for hours. Eventually got found, but fear crept in. It's not big, it's just little, but that was my little fear epicenter. All right, can we get the next one, please? There we go, that's me now. Still a little bit there, not much left of it. Now God has worked with me with this one mainly because I love hunting. I go walk, and do you know how hard it is to stray from the path if you have a fear of getting lost? So God has worked in my life mainly through hunting. And this has gone from just a little shack to just about falling over. Can we get the next one, please? This one's a bit bigger. This one was my epicenter of smoking. It's a bit bigger than fear. There was why I started smoking, I don't know. It's one of those things, there's probably something there, but I don't know why. Can we get the next one, please? This is my smoking now. That's gone. So the difference between my little shack of fear and my epicenter of smoking is because smoking has caught me before. I would quit for a year, and then something would creep in, and before you know it, I'd be smoking again, and you drop it, and be good for another 6 months, and then be back smoking again. So smoking has caught me before, like those little animals, just something small. So I had to put smoking to death completely. And it takes a little bit of while. It takes a while for things to, what's a good word for it? for it to erode. But this is my smoking epicenter now. I believe that's pretty much gone. And then the next slide, please. This is my big one. This is me looking at pornography. This was my epicenter that I built. This is my visitor center that I built at my epicenter. And we get the next one, please. I believe we're sitting about there now with my epicenter. It's well and truly falling apart now. But what would happen is I would go away, I would walk away from that visitor center, and then life would happen. And you'd come back and we'd straighten up the furniture again, we'd make things look well, and then we go, oh, we shouldn't be here. And I'd walk away from it. And life would happen, and I'd be back, and we'd give it another coat of paint. We'll make it look good again. But God has set me free. The wear and tear is set in, and it's on its way out. There's no stopping. It's going to fall down. The easiest way to not go to your visitor center is to use a different path. Why don't we use a new path? Is a new path that difficult? It's not always all that difficult. It's just that we'd rather drown in what we know than be free in something we can't see. Or we are slow learners. I am a slow learner. All right, I am right-handed, so all my scars are on my left hand. All right. For those of you that don't know, I used to dairy farm a long time ago, and I was cutting polythene pipe with a pocket knife, and it slipped, believe it or not, and I have got this beautiful cut here just on my 2 fingers. I could not ride a motorcycle for 3 weeks because my fingers were so sore. It was on the knuckles. I've got another scar here. I was cutting polythene pipe with a pocket knife. And I was going, if this slips, this is going to go straight into my hand. Now, believe me, 5 stitches later, that it slipped and it went straight into my hand. I've got another scar here. I was cutting polythene pipe with a pocket knife. All right. And I realized if this is going to slip, this is going to hurt quite a bit. And I just took my hand away, but it just nicked me, big enough to leave a scar. Now, these aren't wounds anymore. They're scars. Can we get the next slide up there, please? My question to you is, should we not let our epicenters become scars? It's not a wound anymore. It should be a story for other people. It should be a warning to other people. Your scars in your life are your story. They're not open wounds anymore. Can somebody look at your life and they go, that's happened to you? And you can go, yes, that particular thing has happened to me. But God has stepped into my life. Did that not really hurt? Yes, that really hurt. And that changed the way I deal with people. But God stepped into my life. So let your epicenter become a scar. Let it be visible for everybody. Let people see it. Show it to them. Go, this is what happened to my life. This is what somebody else has done to me. This has changed the way I live. And then God stepped in. And He's taken this wound and He's healed it. And it's become a scar in my life. And that is my story today. So if I can get the band to come up, please. And I'd like to ask you this morning, If you've got something in your life that you have not put to death, and you want to put it to death this morning, come up here and we'll pray for you. If you've got sickness in your body, we'd like to pray for you. If there's anything, if you are not sold out and you want to sell out today is the day. Come in, come forward, we'll pray. We'll pray that all those wounds become scars in your life, that it becomes a path, be something for somebody to see and can go, I can see God has been in your life. Thank you, guys.
Jesus, lover of my soul.